long time that there are outside expectations for this team after last year's success. What do you talk to your players about? How do you advise them on how to deal with that?
Yeah, we're fortunate that last year we came up with some standards that we want as commanders. This is our commander standard, and it was written by the players. So we really see the expectations, being external. But the ones that we have are internal. These are the standards that we want to go after. And so we definitely recognize there could be a narrative or a voice outside, but the truth of it is internally in our standards of what we want to do and how we want to get down, that's way more powerful. And we're fortunate that we're able to rely on those standards as opposed to an expectation which comes from the outside. So I think those are what we lean on, and we're fortunate that we have those.
Hi. You've talked about creating competition in every facet. In what ways do you try to do that throughout training camp?
We'll have certain periods that are designed just for that, like end of the game ones today that will go. But as much as it is for offense, defense, or kickoff coverage versus kickoff return, it's also individualized. And if we can really nail that part, Nikki, in the meeting yesterday, I had said to the guys, I'd like to be a running back to try to go against Wags in the open field. This man has over 1,000 tackles. Can I beat him? Can I work him? As a defensive end, I'd love to go against Laramie, to know that this is going to be hard. And if you can find that edge in that competition as well, Nikki, I think that's where it brings out one another. It's not contentious of FU. It's more, man, like how can we take it to the next space together and really go after it? But that's what it's about, and that is a really fun part of what we do at the core. That's what these guys are, man, like competitors at their core. So it also fuels into who they are, as people.
And just in your second year here, are there things that you did differently last year that you liked and kept? Are there things that you didn't like that you scrapped going into this year?
Yeah, it was definitely rinse and repeat. What we try to do is do an after action after each block of time. And so each training camp one, what we do last year in the rookie camp, the first block, second block, ramp up. We really liked starting in the red zone last year, so that stayed. So there's not as much long distance running on an early time for the guys who've been training on, at a different location. So there's some things we kept the same, Nikki. There's other things, as you're going to see during camp. Maybe we'll do a different type of inter squad this year based on we have a longer preseason game 1 to game 2 from an earlier game with New England to a later game with Cincinnati. So there are some tweaks that we'll do. And then in the system, there are some things that you go through from a teaching standpoint. Say, okay, this was worth it. This wasn't. What do we do? So there are definitely things that we tweak.
Hey, Dan, good morning.
Morning.
From a practical standpoint, what does Terry's absence mean for what you can get done on a daily basis? And how does it affect you on the practice field, just him not being there?
Well, good news, there's been a lot of reps, with him before. But as we're putting the system in, that's the advantage of being through it an entire year, of going through it. In the old days when sometimes we've all heard about, remember the rookie that held out and missed some of the training, that's probably the person that's the hardest to recover from, the rookie that has limited time due to injury or, contract, those types of things. So for him, through the off season was here, through that program to go. So do I love it as a coach? No, you want every player like on the team, on the field all the time, but I'm really comfortable with where he's at.
Yeah, and for Dan, you talked yesterday about like his kind of capacity for improvement. One, like, do you believe that that's a skill unto itself, that certain guys are better at being able to improve? And with Jaden specifically this offseason, did you sort of give him, 1 or 2 areas where you told him, like, I think you can go to the next level and, X, Y, Z specifically?
Yeah, it's for us, like the development of skill, and that's like almost like an endless marketing campaign here. We don't back off of that. We're a development staff and team, so where we think we are, can we get it to here and then take it to the next step? To me, the most important element of that is players and coaches that have self-awareness. If you have to rely on someone else to say, you need to work on this, you need to work on this, you won't get there as quickly. Coach will stay on it and he'll go there. But if you can collaborate together to say, these are the things that you do, these are the things that I think we can add to it, we devote pre-practice and post-practice to that skill work. But the coaches have things they're also developing on together. So it's really like if the coaches can improve also, then the players can. Like, we can't ask them to, do this and then ignore our example. We have to get better too. And so that's kind of the fun part of it here. Like, we're trying to absolutely go for it from a skill standpoint. And yes, Jaden and everybody has something. This is the thing. And our next block that we update will be in about 2 weeks. This is the stuff I worked on through the off season. This is what I'm starting training camp with. And around August 1st or 2nd, we'll go through another phase. Hey, what does that look like for the next 3 or 4 weeks? This specific thing that I want to nail down. And sometimes it carries on into the season. Sometimes, okay, I nailed that part. I want to go to the next spot. So we're pretty methodical about how we want to go work on our skill improvement. Long answer, but it's one that we love doing here.
Dan, with Tunsil and with Josh, athletically, what do you anticipate they may be able to do to enhance the run game, especially with their abilities?
Yeah. There's a lot. I think it's the athleticism of being out on the perimeter. So those are pull plays, where you could be on a counter, you could be on a toss, you can get outside. The other one, that comes up is on the screen game, because now you're downfield. In the old days, you remember the lineman could go and just throw. That's the term, would go and cut, it was a corner or downfield, and the big guys could go and just that. But now you have to sustain that block on your feet, and it's in space. And so those are the two areas, I think, pulling and being in space where you can go sustain on a screen. And if you can get a block on a screen, you give a guy like Debo a chance to go hit a crease, that's a big deal. So I think it's twofold: pulling, because that's also space, and the screen game.
Without manipulating the depth chart, are you going to find ways to make sure that Josh gets some reps against Vaughn during camp?
We definitely will, and that's in the morning meetings with the staff. When can we do this? When to find it? I've kind of felt through the years there's about 3 positions that training camp is where the best evaluations happen. Running back, did he break the tackle? Because there's an angle, you're not sure. And then the offensive line and defensive line, because their games are just different with the contact. The receivers, the corners, the quarterbacks, I think you can get a better assessment. But for those 3 positions specifically, we will. And that's exactly the type of competition that we're talking about.
Dan, you mentioned yesterday Cosme had checked all the boxes along the way.
Yep.
He's on the pup now. Would checking the boxes through the next 6 weeks mean he'd be ready for week 1, or is that not reasonable?
I think it's on the table for sure, but we won't put that, there until that. But it gives you the chance for him to go be able to do that. If you wait till the season, there's other guidelines, and you're 4 weeks in and that. So he's hitting all the markers. But let's find out. I think we'll have a better question on that, a better answer on that as we get closer to, the end of the preseason. But I'm very encouraged with the work he's put in.
Hey, Dan. I know you preach competition and taking advantage of opportunities and all those different things during training camp. As you look at the wide receiver room as it kind of stands now, is there a glass half full to Terry not being here where guys are going to get extra reps, extra opportunities to work with the ones?
When you're on a roster, you're trying to finding ways to make your mark and do your thing. And so there's advantages to that where, okay, you got highlighted. What can you do? And I'm so excited to see some of the people making the development from 1 year in the system to the 2nd year in the system. There's also some players that we signed during the season last year that you guys didn't see a lot of. A Chris Moore, he was on the practice squad. But when I saw like he or KJ come back this offseason, man, it was like the speed, the energy, you felt it. Sometimes it can be difficult to be dropped off into a team in December or, where that looks like. So to have a full off season and now into training camp, I'm just as excited to see guys like that really take their stand and say, hey, I want to go fight for this. And I'm excited to see that.
And then quickly with Noah Brown, is there anything, is he 100% go? Is there any issues, any holdback for him?
We'll work him in to it. He's not, out, but there'll be some days he's on, off. And so just due to when his injury was, we're going to ramp him up. And that's custom with, some other players as well. There'll be days where we'll hold back on some veteran players, and but Noah's in that space where we're going to make sure, over the next 2 weeks, really, that he's hitting all the strides and the markers. And some players are so competitive that you have to, no, wait it out. And Noah is one of those players. So we're very excited that he's doing good, but we're not going to miss a step with him.
Coach Quinn, Stephanie with Fox 5. Just want to ask, just to confirm that McLaurin now on the reserve list means that he is going to face that $50,000 fine for every day he doesn't show. And then also, I know you said it's part of the business, that you don't judge or get too worked up about it, but McLaurin was speaking recently about it and talking about how he's not really feeling the love, right? And so a lot of fans are excited to see him lock in with Jaden Daniels again. How do you work to make sure that there are no hard feelings transferring onto the field? And then how long could this go, the contract negotiations, before it does become damaging for the team?
Yeah, let's work backwards. That was like an 8-part question. I love it. All right, that's really crafty. Yeah, you had one. I got it. If you're working backward, I know Adam and his team are working hard. So as far as a timeline for negotiation, I certainly don't have that. Moving, prior to that, yes, the CBA does have guidelines, and it's honestly pretty easy to follow. That's why we have the guidelines from the union and the CBA. So that's pretty cut and dry. It's not different from Washington that it is in another city. So that's standard operating procedure. And as far as Terry goes, man, we think the world of him. I think Adam referenced that yesterday. It's why we're trying to do the extension. And so we hold him in really high regard. We love him. So that's kind of where we're at. But it does happen that the business side gets in, and that's not here, that's everywhere. All right, we'll see you guys out there.